Okay, this will be a quick little video for some introduction to Google SketchUp and show you some of the things that the product is capable of doing. There is a professional version and a free version, and we're going to use the free version because there aren't any differences between them. So you just want to type in SketchUp. You can go to Google and just type in SketchUp, and then you'll see a link for SketchUp free, and you can just hit the one for start modeling. It may ask you to sign into your um, Google account. So if you have Gmail, you'll definitely want to use that. And I will definitely use my Gmail account because Google and OSU sometimes do not agree and cooperate well. It might take a minute to load, particularly if you've never loaded it before. So we'll just let it think. You do get to agree to the terms and services, which I've done in the past, but they redid my computer, so probably don't have the same access as I used to have. So this is the basic screen, and I'm going to give you a bit of a tour here. Most of the time, you're going to see a character here. This character is drawn to scale. We don't necessarily need that character. It could be either a man or woman. And so we're going to delete that in a second. But what I want you to notice is you've got this blue axis that runs up and down. You've got this red axis that runs pretty much left and right, and then you've got the y-axis that kind of runs to the background. So it is an X, Y, and Z sort of axis because this is a three-dimensional program. So we can use this to walk around, to move, and you can see it is going to be in 3 dimensions. So what we're going to do is go through the tools a little bit. I'll show you some of the basics. You can follow along on your own computer. You could watch this on a tablet or your phone, follow this along on your own computer if you want to. And at the end, you'll have created a very simple little kind of doghouse sort of thing. So over here on the left-hand side, this is where the vast majority of your tools are going to be. If you kind of just hold on you just mouse over the tool, you'll see what the tool does. So there's your cursor or your select tool, an eraser, a paint bucket that allows you to color in different areas, a pencil for drawing lines. You can see arcs, squares, and rectangles. This is the push-pull tool, and I'll talk about that more in detail in a moment. That allows you to take a flat surface and make it a three-dimensional surface. Outer shell is used mostly for when we're doing 3D printing, so you can use Google SketchUp to create a model that then you can send to a 3D printer. And then these are moving about, measuring, doing a walkthrough, and more orbiting and zoom tools. Anytime you see a little arrow next to it, when you click the tool, you'll get 2 different things, or you'll get other tools within that. So you can see that within some of these tools, you have other tools that are built in. It simply just depends upon which tool that you need. So these are the basic formats for the tools. And then anything that has a little arrow will have another arrow, another set of tools perhaps inside that. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this lady. If you left click on your person there, you will see that she gets highlighted. You can either click the eraser button and then hit the highlighted item, or you can hit the delete button on your computer, whichever is easiest for you. Now we're going to go to here. We're going to draw a square. What I want you to notice is when you put your square in the corner and you start holding, well, you do not want to hold the mouse. So you just want to click your mouse and then start moving the mouse. And if you look in the bottom right-hand corner, you will see that it accurately dimensions things. So you can move a shape around until you get it to the dimensions that you want, or you can type into the box. And I want you to notice how it marks things. So feet have the little 1 hash. Then so this one is 5, 1 3/16 of an inch by 6 feet and 6 5/8 of an inch. Notice they're separated by a comma. So you can simply type that into the box if you want to, or you can do what I'm doing right here and just simply get the boxes to any size that you want. If you go, oh, I don't like that size, I don't want that box, you can either hit the erase thing, and then erase everything, or you can use your cursor, highlight things like this. Now you can see it's highlighted, and then you should be able to erase from there. I don't know why that didn't highlight, because my computer locked up. If you use your cursor, you can highlight things. See, they turn blue, and then you can hit the delete button on your keyboard and it's deleted. For this tutorial, I'm not really concerned about how big you make this box, but we've got some sort of rectangle or a square. It doesn't have to be exact. And then we're going to go to our push-pull tool. And that's going to turn this flat surface square, and this is the push-pull tool here. It looks like a box with a little arrow. And you'll notice how it highlights the face of this. If you click on that, don't hold, just click and then move the mouse. You can pull this up. So now you can see again in the lower right-hand corner, I can make this box as big as I want. So I'm going to go into about the 6-foot range. And now I've got a box that is, so I can use the hand to move it to a different place. I can use the orbit tool to zoom around. I can look under it, those sorts of things. You can leave it in the exact same space if you'd like to do that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to draw a box on this face that's going to end up representing the door of our little doghouse. So let's draw on the edge. Now, notice that it says that it's on the face. If I were to connect it to this line, see how it says on the edge, which means it's on the edge, it will automatically find midpoints. It will automatically find endpoints and point those out to you. I don't want this on the midpoint. I want the door to be in the middle. I don't really care how big a door you make at this point. We're just kind of moving things around. Now, what the computer thinks has happened here, if we go back to our push-pull tool, is we have separated this face into 2 different faces. So you can see how it highlights each one. So let's push-pull the door in a little bit. You could also pull it out if you wanted to make a, a house with a, let's say, an entrance porch. But let's push it in just a little tiny bit. Again, I'm not overly concerned how far you push it in. Once you stop utilizing the tool, you can see that the distance is still there. Once you switch and go to a new tool, SketchUp does not remember that, but you can measure it with the measuring tape later if you need to do that. We will go over all of these tools, so I don't necessarily expect you to remember all of these right away. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use our orbit tool, and we're going to kind of move around so that you can see the top. Then we're going to take a pencil, and you can see you can either freehand draw or draw straight lines. I recommend straight lines very much so. And find the top midpoint. So you can see how it's on the edge, and it wants to go to the midpoint, and it'll tell you where it is, and go to the midpoint on the other side. Now, if we go to push-pull, and we're not going to use the push-pull tool yet, but I want to show you that we have now separated this into 2 different faces. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the move tool. And that's this button right here. It looks like a little cross. And we're going to grab the midpoint of just the line. See how it's separated out? See, I can grab anything there, and it wants to grab where I've just put it. And we are going to move that straight up. Notice it says on the blue axis. If you're not careful with how your mouse goes, you get really weird, funky shapes. So you want to make sure that it says on the blue axis. So those colors are there to help you learn which direction you're moving things or on which axis you're functioning. So now I've created a little mini house. So let's put a window on our little doghouse. Let's get another rectangle. And we'll just draw a rectangle over here. And if you want to, you can pull that in just a little tiny bit. You can just leave it also if blank if you'd like. Now what we're going to do is going to use our paint tool. And we're going to click the paint bucket, and you can see how it's going to drop in different colors. And I don't have a selection here, but there are lots of different tools that I can use inside here looking for various things. So if you click the search button, you will see all kinds of different types of things that you can paint. So we're going to go to glass and mirrors. But you can also do water, wood, window coverings. We'll get to some of those in just a second. So we're going to go to glass and mirrors, and you're going to pick a type of glass that you want. So I'm going to happen to pick this light blue one. You could pick these kind of blocky pieces, or yellow or green, or with the safety wire inside. And then you simply paint the inside. You can use this arrow in the upper right-hand corner to get rid of these panels, or you can leave it open because we are going to use some more of this. So now we actually have a window where we can see inside. But notice, if you look at our door, well, we can't even get in the door yet. Also, that's not really a fancy door either. So let's make it a little bit more fancy. So we are going to go to look at some of these arcs. And we are going to choose this arc right here. That's the second one down. And what you do is you click on your endpoint, you click on the other endpoint, and then you find your midpoint. And you don't click, but you just pull it up. Again, notice the blue line because I can make this go in a lot of different directions. So you'll notice it's still on the face. And now we can push-pull this arc to meet the door. See how it says offsets limited? That's because it's meeting the door. All right, so now we have two different faces. Well, I don't want two different faces, so let's erase just this line. And now this door will actually behave as one face if that's what we want to do. So now we have a little arched doorway. And if we want to make it an official doorway where Fido could get in to our doghouse, we can simply erase this bottom line. And now we have a doorway. And I want to show you something here because what to us looks like a thick wall, if I go underneath, as far as SketchUp is concerned, this is a bunch of different lines and faces. Everything SketchUp does is these lines and faces. It has no thickness to it at all. So if we really wanted to add thickness to this, we would have to physically add the lines that builds the faces for these sorts of things. But from a perspective of a client, if you did a very simple drawing of their house and put some trees in there, they would recognize that. So now let's go back to our paint bucket and let's put some bricks or some siding on there. We have some roofing, so we can pick a roofing material to go on top of our little doghouse. We can pick a siding material. Maybe Fido wants this wall in bricks and this wall in bricks. And we're going to do this wall in these type of stone. Here's the other thing to notice. It only does that selected face. So if I wanted to do something on the inside, I have to physically pick those selections. Notice again, it hasn't done anything in the window here because those are all separate areas. So if I would like to do those in the same pattern, I have to make sure that I am scrolling around, moving around to hitting those. And what I've done here is I've set the orbit tool to the third mouse button. So you can use your third mouse button if you have one, scroll it and it zooms in and out, hold it down, and you can move around. So that's an easier way to move around a little bit rather than simply going back and changing the tool every single time. And that is the basics of SketchUp.